Hi there, I'm Allie Elliott.
Hi guys, I'm Allie Elliott. I'm here today to edit with one hand and try and keep my cat from batting away my microphone. Happy Valentine's Day, and we're going to have some Valentine's chat while we continue working on this, but I'm also going to work on some other images from this session, some more traditional portraits so that they have options. This one's going to go big on the wall. But here I gotta hike her up so you can see her. She says hi. All right. So one thing that was bothering me about this is the coloration in the bottom of the clouds. So that's the first thing I'm going to address because I've been thinking about it for since last night. I like this pure white, and I don't want to take all the color out, because I like that shift. And actually I might end up going back, but I just want to test this theory. And then my kitty is gonna answer Valentine questions for you. This is hard. It's actually easier for me to see in the Twitch feedback screen over there. So we'll just kind of play around with taking out I do like that. Yeah, I do like that. It's subtle. So I'm going to come back in here and first of all get those balloons out because I forgot that we flattened it all. And I had plans to wear a cute red Valentine shirt, and then I went for a run outside and it's like, oh, okay, so we need to go a little bigger on my selection because there's some of those yellows down further. Uh-oh, how are we gonna do that? Here, hang tight, kitty. You watch the you watch the mouse. There we go. There we go. All right, so we'll try this again because I liked what I'm seeing here. Just go into the blues and out of the reds. And I like that. And that keeps the focus less on that really warm bottom part of the cloud. And I'm gonna try not to say so much or look angry. It's my that's my Twitch goal. All right, let's see. Whoops, I don't want that one. So I'm gonna grab my stylus and erase back the balloons. So we might have to handle some of these highlights on the balloons a different way. If our light source is mainly camera right, so that it's on her, which that's how it's going to be. Okay, I like where that is so far. Are you going to attack? Hey, baby. She's judging me. She's judging you. You'll recognize Zuzu Bailey if you've watched pretty much any stream that I've done because she has starred in a few recent photos. Okay, so I'm going to flatten this and duplicate and then save it as the next progression. And this one is going to be progress 15. Okay, So I'm going to duplicate again just to have my safety layers. And we are going to take a really low exposure and just dodge in there and create some depth. That was a little much. I tend to get carried away with dodging and burning. You like watching those, Suzu? And hopefully everybody has a very exciting Valentine's Day planned. We've never really done that much for Valentine's Day, so I'll live vicariously. There we go. And now that we're in this, that might be a little much too, because I don't want to have to, there's like, it's a natural occurrence, this line, but I definitely don't want to draw more attention to it. So after we go in with some broad dodging, then let's go down even further. We'll go down like 5. We don't need that. We go, and just give some depth. And then you can just see the difference that made. All right. And I'll go in with kind of a little bit bigger than that. That didn't even change that much. Okay. Going with kind of a medium-sized brush to burn. And the exposure is down to 7. It's going to be real it'll be really subtle. And that's what we want. Because if we're going to go real dramatic, I'm going to graduate there slowly. Are you ready for your kitty back? Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Zuzu says bye to everybody. Up close. Thank you. She might be ready for her nap. Okay. Don't worry. Zuzu can still judge your Valentine questions from the other room. Okay, so we've got these beautiful subtle variances that give a nice depth to the sky. And they balance out with the tones in her, that she's got some bright highlights and some deep shadows. And she's got some movement. So I think we're in a really good place right now. I'm going to flatten and duplicate and work on a rather large dodge. And it'll be so subtle. But I want all of this and one thing I definitely want to do is, because we move these balloons a little bit that are floating away, and the main light source is far camera right, these shifted a little. So this one would be blocked somewhat by the other balloon, but not a ton. But I just want to make sure that those are make sure these are getting the attention that they need. And I like the subtle overlap. It's really starting to make sense visually. So I think I will go ahead and take care of the lights that are, I'm going to duplicate again. and then go in there on the balloons. Because I initially planned to have a light source camera left, and I'm leaning towards not. So we'll just do a layer that's almost 100%, and that's significantly smaller. There we go, and just kind of make that visually make a little more sense. So I think I started to say this earlier. I went for a run. I plan to wear a cute little Valentine's Day shirt because I don't care that much about Valentine's Day, but I love a theme. And I went for a run and have yet to warm back up because it's like ridiculously cold. So it's sweater weather. And that's where we're at. And this just has a little bit of the clone tracks, and I don't want that. So that's already gone. This is just, I'm gonna go even lower, like maybe 50, a little below 50, because that's where I landed. So it'll just be an implied it'll be so subtle. There we go. And then this one, you don't want to see those stripes in there. So I hear Kitty, she wants to come back for your Valentine questions. And I definitely don't want to lose that beautiful just hint of the other balloon sneaking through there. So we'll leave that with somewhat. The closer down to the ground, they'll have kind of a bounce from the grass. So that one makes a little more sense visually. And this will balance that light and dark. And again, it's just kind of implied. These will be kind of tough where there is more than one overlap. Nothing too crazy though. Because I do want to go in and give it somewhat of a hand-painted touch on those balloons. Okay, and I'm definitely going to have to address the strings, and that won't be any fun at all, but those things that aren't fun are usually the ones that make the most difference, because that will separate the people who are willing to do the unfun part versus the people that I can be sometimes where you know, you just kind of tuck it away, or you hide it, or you, if you're doing a painting, you're not showing hands and feet because that's your weakness, and that is often a weakness. And even really beautiful, famous paintings, even like if you walk through the National Portrait Gallery, there are a lot of hidden hands and feet and not a lot of full body, just because that proportion is difficult to master. Well, I don't know if that's why. That would be my guess. Okay, so I feel like there's some color shifting. I'm not going to address it on here, but that might be something that I print and mark. And sometimes when you have a print, to just mark up with a marker, you can be your own teacher. And you can back it up and you can flip it around, and just seeing it in print, different angles, helps. Okay. So what I'm going to do now that I should have just, it would have been a million times easier to just do when they were on separate layers. But here we are. I want to make sure that I'm not leaving that little mark that I am actually leaving, because we'll have so many gradients and changes in the sky behind us. This is unnecessary work that if I had foresight, then laziness hadn't taken over, then, you know, this would not be happening. So I want to change my origination point occasionally, just to make sure that I'm keeping the whole I'll leave that one because I like the little overlap and the color seems to, that one's okay too, so we'll hang on to it. Maybe get rid of this. Oh, and we've got a little ghost string. So that's the upside to having to go in here, is that you'll stumble on some stuff that you might have otherwise missed. That one's okay, but again, I don't know how that happened because that's bad. So you can see that color shift in here from where I was piecing the skies together and kind of playing with them individually. Okay, I can feel that face I'm making and it's awful. All right. Okay. There's just little okay. So I would like to tuck this string in behind this blue. So I'm going in the stroke of the blue and choosing an origination point that's going to give me the same gradient that I'm looking for. So that made that pretty easy. I'll keep this one, and this one I want wow, that's 29. That looks really so maybe we go smaller than that even. Just barely visible to the eye. There we go. So I was trying to just match up that natural. So that one will maintain, and that one we tucked back behind there. That string looks okay. These are kind of gonna be a pain because they've got that color shift, so we can't just leave them out. And then let's go a little bigger. That didn't change much. Okay. Whoops. Hello. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to editing, all that good stuff. You missed the cat. She took off. Happy Valentine's Day. Oops. Got a little clone trail going on there. Just want to blend that. This is kind of a boring part. And if I can avoid having ghosts of these old strings, I'm going to, especially the ones that I want out completely. The ones that had a nice natural flow to them, those can stay. But most of these are going to go. Well, that's okay. Single is the best way to be on Valentine's Day because it's much cheaper and no pressure. Although I've got to say, we've been married, we've been together 20 years. There is no pressure. We've never really done anything for Valentine's Day. So this one's going to have, it needs to match up here. But I would rather have it be my own. This one's just kind of sloppy. I don't love it. So as long as I'm not leaving clone marks, we're just going to get rid of it for the most part. And then I'm going to go down real small, like three pixels, and get rid of this edge that's happening. And now it's nice and thin, and it'll be easy to. All right, so I don't see any crazy strings or anything left. So these back here are gonna have to be like 1 pixel, 5%. I know. I don't know. I don't actually really know that anybody. Can't talk while I do this. I don't know that people are worried that much about Valentine's Day. I've never really cared. My kids are like, "Are we getting anything for Valentine's Day?" I'm like, "Valentine's Day." I'm like, You can make something. I'll make pancakes. You know, that's where the party ends. All right, so now I want to add, I'm going to go back because I don't like the little second string. Sometimes, you know, the balloons are tied, and there's, I have trouble like controlling my hands and stuff while I'm talking, or just not. So it might end up being a little better to just, see, that's what I end up doing every time. What I want are some little highlights. It may end up being easier to get the strings on there and then use Liquify to kind of smush them together. Because what I want is just a little touch. And that might be enough where I can just kind of erase back and give them a little shadow. And I think the problem with this one is that it wasn't a pure white. So you can see the noise in the clouds behind me, I probably should have left the balloons on a separate layer. And this would have all been much easier. Okay, so let's see if I can add just this little. Okay, so that's sloppy, but that's okay. Because what this part that we're working on is so minor. But when this final image for this client is going to be a 24 by 36. So when these minor elements are printed big like that, then you'll definitely be able to see them. Where'd there it is. All right, so lesson learned. I will do better next time on, but now I think I've got how I want to do this. So I'm just going to add some manual highlights, and they'll look sloppy right now, but we'll handle that. And then I can use this to, now, okay, so if you've been watching this image grow or whatever, then you saw that I've hand painted, hand smoothed, whatever you want to call it, every single pixel in this except for the sky. So the balloons, the girl, the grass, everything has been smudged so that there's like a painterly effect. I haven't done that with the sky because the sky naturally has a painterly effect. But if it's very, very crisp at the end of this, then we might just go ahead and get that taken care of. All right, so doing this by hand just allows us to have a little more control over how organic it's coming together, and then if I keep having to go over the noise in the sky, then it's definitely going to end up painted. And I'm probably going to paint it anyway. Sometimes I like to trick myself into thinking that there's less work ahead of me than there actually is, because I don't want to overwhelm myself too much. I might actually, let's stop that. And I'm going to back up a little bit so that I can have more of a natural stroke. All right. Let's see. Okay. I'm tending to do the same kind of the same pattern, and it's making it look copy and pasted when it's not. And this is one of those things, if I get absolutely right, nobody will notice them. And if I get it wrong, it'll be like the first thing that you see. So that's why it's important. And it helps if you bite your lip. It must, because That is what I do when I'm concentrating 100% of the time. I'm trying consciously not to do that same pattern that it seems like I'm always doing. And so I'm doing these weird unnatural things. Why am I doing that? Oh my gosh, here we go. It's very unnatural. And this needs to be, this is the most important one. Oh, that was a good one. I wish I could keep that one and not. That's not a natural balloon. All right, let's move it over here out of my light so I can see better. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a little cheat. All right, so there we've got this on a separate layer. I don't want to move the whole thing, so I'm going to hit transform. And then we're going to scooch in here and warp it. And that will keep us from, perfect. Okay. That'll keep us from having to have that level of precision. So that'll also give me the chance here. No, I don't like those. Way back, got a weird little like. There we go. All right, and then okay, and then that was significantly easier. And I know you see that little like stray line over there. I'm gonna get that. So now I can smear that without. So let's do the bottom while we're on this fabulous little not that. Don't like that. We're gonna go a teeny bit bigger to 3 whole pixels, and now we're at 15, so that works. And then back down to 1. Okay. And then we'll smear this part too. And actually I'm going to go a little bit smaller just so that it's not, we'll just go to 10. There we go. All right. All right. So we'll merge those. Okay. I don't know that all of them are better. Some of them might be worse. Some of them are definitely worse. But I know for sure that that one is better. That might be the only one that's better though. So I'm going to select the inverse, delete. I'm going to merge these layers. Oh, wait. We had done the, oh, okay, that's right. So that's the good one. Okay, so we'll duplicate that, and we're still better off than we were. But I am going to get rid of these, and then I'm going to do them on a different layer, because I can't just leave them, because there are some that are really, really crazy. I should have planned better. All right, so back to work. This is the tedious part. Entertain me with your Valentine stories. Oh, I don't know. What else? I'm going to duplicate that again because I don't want to. I've got some really minor details, some really minute details that I don't want to lose. Okay, so I like that one. All right, here we go. I'm going to be smart about it this time though, and when I get rid of them, I will save it as a separate layer, and we can start doing the strings on an entirely separate layer so that we can play around with them a little bit without being in danger all the time of having to lose work that we wanted to keep. What is that noise? So I'm trying to change up the origination point pretty often so that I'm not having duplication, or I'm going to go a little bit bigger, because the bigger your brush for this, the easier it is to not have some clone tracks in there. And it's such a teeny tiny little difference. Whoops. This is the boring part. Boring and so important. Because I want this to be perfect for my clients. Telling her story, my absolute favorite. Oh yeah, and that reminds, I just tried to clone a piece of dust on my monitor. I wanted to go in here and get that too. All right. There, I did it again. All right. Okay, so, oh, shoot. I liked that behind the blue balloon, so we might go back. Yeah, let's just, so we want to tuck this string. We'll keep this one in front of the blue balloon and tuck this one behind it. So it doesn't have to completely be gone because it could have a little bit of, you could see it like a little bit through there, but there's not much else to see. So as far as behind it, there are clouds. Yuck, that one's gonna need some attention. So we'll just kind of hand smudge in there. There we go. And then oh, well, hello. Don't need that. That's like a weird little cloning line in there. Oh, that's why. Because I'm still on white. Pretend you didn't see that. Oh, why is it? There we go. All right. And that's like, it's tiny, like nobody's going to even see that but me. But once I see it, then it's in my head. It's a done deal. Oh, and we're at 2% opacity. Let's go with like maybe 15%. There we go. And that's all we need. And this string back here, we're gonna keep, that makes sense. Nice and easy. We took that off. I'm gonna back up a little bit just so we can get a better idea. Those are gone, we'll keep those. Those actually are white, so I don't see a reason not to keep them. Now down here we've got kind of a mess, and I don't know where those extra came from. Those are good to leave. I think there's a nice these stray strings flying around. Goes. Okay, we're almost done with the boring part. our big Valentine's Day was that we went to Whole Foods yesterday to try to get like a cake or some hoagies for the Super Bowl or something. And we thought, like, the Super Bowl yesterday, Valentine's Day, like, we'd be stocked. Well, we were wrong. And they didn't have anything. It was really disappointing. Like, we got croissants. They were really good. I'll give them that much. But, you know, there were no donuts. They had no donuts. Okay. So, I'm going to duplicate that layer, that precious layer that I do not want to redo. And I'm going to put a completely new blank layer on there so that I can put these strings on there, put some highlights, and oh man, I really like the movement of these, but that gross blown out magenta situation is not gonna work. Okay, so maybe we can just kind of follow what's going on with them a little bit. My nose is itchy. Okay, so let's save it and go back up to our blank layer and just get some nice, normal, not overthought swipes of where did I go? There we go. See, why do I do that? I do this weird backwards S and it has a really hard edge. Now I'm like consciously trying not to do it and it's making it worse. There. It's back. Oh my gosh, it's like, this is why I'm not good at video games. I don't know, that you're not supposed to say that on Twitch probably. But I'm not at all. I can draw, I can paint, I can sculpt. I cannot play video games. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm gonna leave it like that for now because I like that it's nice and subtle. And sometimes I'm a little extra. Ooh, I didn't do the weird. Never mind. Okay, that one is probably my favorite. That's my favorite balloon string. I ruined it. I just need to match it up a little. There we go. All right. Maybe I'll try it with the mouse. Okay. Acceptable. I don't want these to be a major element. I don't want them to be uniform. I don't want them to be a straight line. So that's when the overthinking comes into play. And my shaky hands. Okay, now this is on a completely different layer than the rest of the string, so I can smudge it a little more freely and not have to worry about, you know, affecting any of the rest of it. Okay, those are pretty good shape. And that I can just smudge into working. Did everybody watch the Super Bowl last night? Did you eat some dip and watch the halftime show? I don't like those last ones. There we go. So I've got such a stark change here in this one that I want to blend it a little. So I'm going to get a smaller smudge tool. And then when we flatten it, I'll probably clone that one a little. All right, so now we're back to, ooh, first try. I spoke too soon. There we go. Ah, sorry, that was probably loud. I don't want to match. You know what? Let's try the mouse with this one. All right, so we'll just erase that. And then we'll go a little bit thicker on the opacity. So that we can make it not too uniform. Let me see what I can do to ruin these ones that had a nice flow. There we go. All right. So just running along there. There we go. Okay. There we go. Gosh. All right. And this will all make a lot of sense when it's all printed out. All these little details and going over stuff, and it'll be worthwhile. Whoa, what just happened? Okay. So that's better. Okay. I'm going to merge those layers, duplicate as my backup layer, and then save. And we are on 17. So that's a good indication that we're much closer than we were, the beginning of this all. All right, so I'm going to merge all the rest of these into just this little, okay. So let's see here. I need to maybe work on her feet. All right, I think what we'll do now is work on some of the other images from this session. Just take a break from what this looks like, give our brains a break, and then we can come back and have a fresh set of eyes. So 2839. $42, $45. So we took these just to kind of help her get warmed up. And these are the grandma pleasers. Grandmas always want like a smile at the camera of everybody looking sweet. So that is what we'll work on now. And these will be, so I developed a super basic action here that just does unsharp mask, reduce noise, color balance that warms it up a little bit because I shoot with this gray backdrop in my studio pretty often, and just a little curves bump. So I'm going to use that so that everything is completely uniform and it's quick. So these won't be competition level finishing. These will be, worthy of being printed. I don't want that second catch light in there, but that's a little harsh. Might have to go a little smaller than that. These are definitely ones that could go on the wall. These could be 8x10s. These could be, anything like that. But to edit at a competition level, a huge wall art level versus typical editing is a little bit different. So I will always just give them a little touch up. And set the stage for their gallery. Now there are some at the end of this that I'm really excited. So I might actually skip ahead a little bit and do some where she had warmed up. Generally the first few, the first setup in general in a session is where my subject is kind of just getting comfortable and they're a little stiff and they're doing the teeth showing rather than the smiling. I want their eyes to smile too. So, you know, I never do the most important pictures in the first setup. I always give them a chance to warm up. And it's not just kids, it's dads who don't, it wasn't their idea to be there. But really, it's everybody, because you're in a position that you're not normally in. You're not used to, unless you're a model, you're not used to having the camera on you or being directed, and I'm kind of bossy. But I think people appreciate it in this scenario. So you kind of know I can help guide you to what's flattering. And like in this scenario, she barely even needs a touch. She's got great light on her face. Sometimes kids will, when they're moving around, they're dancing around, they won't be turned at just the right angle to highlight their best features. So I can help them out a little in Photoshop, but she was turned beautifully. She was a wonderful little model. She was into it by the end. She was a little bit hesitant at the beginning. You know, I think everybody is to a certain extent. I've got some sensor dust going on here. I'll take care of that. And this backdrop is just kind of that way. And this gives you an idea of my studio. It's a small space, but it's in a phenomenal part of town where, you know, people still walk around, and or they did before the before the pandemic. One of these days we'll be back. Not quite yet. Okay. Let's just get that off her hair. I'm gonna flatten. Okay, just making sure I ran my color on there. All right. What are everybody's Valentine plans tonight? I need to live vicariously. When I was in junior high, they did this thing where it was like some club sold little felt hearts, and white meant we were friends, and red meant I love you, and pink meant I like you. So, and you could send them anonymously, and it was like the biggest deal in junior high on what hearts you got, and you know who they came from, if you knew. And looking at it now as an adult, I'm like, who? Okay, that's a terrible idea. Who okayed this for kids? Because if I would be nervous. I was not nervous at the time. I was like, sweet, I'll be getting some hearts. But if it were my kids, I would be nervous for them. Like, I don't know. Kids don't get nervous about that stuff, though. And I don't recall anything, you know, bad happening. I don't recall any hurt feelings, but I'm sure there were some. And I just like this little, she loved this bear, so that was the warm-up. She wanted to get in there. She was a little shy at first, so she got in there and danced with the bear, and that warmed her right up. I'm gonna leave that, you know what? Let's just use this backdrop for that image. There's sensor dust on there too. I probably need to get my camera cleaned, but I won't, because I've been saying that for probably 10 years. Let's see, should we mix it up a little bit? My kicker light was stealing some sunshine there. Okay. I'm going to get a little more space around her because I know that I'm going to have to clean that up a little bit. And I almost never shoot portrait orientation, so vertically, versus landscape orientation, which is horizontal. I'm 99.9% of the time I shoot landscape orientation, never landscape, always people. But I sell a lot of albums, and that's how my albums are configured. So it's easier, and that way we don't have to crop them differently. They'll get exactly what they see. Whoops, I need to do that. I need much bigger. Okay. So I'll get these done, and maybe I'll just move on through because I didn't shoot a ton outside of the concept. The main priority was the concept. So we did these few just to help her warm up and be comfortable in front of the camera. I'm going to slide her over here in the third. And I'm going to flip this whole thing. Yeah, there we go. And make sure that her little face is getting the attention she deserves. Beautiful. Okay, but there are some at the end of this session that I'm super duper duper excited to work on. And then so I just do really basic editing on a typical gallery, and then if they are interested in wall art, or if they have one in particular that they love to make big, then I'll give it a little more treatment. I'll give it more of a competition style edit. All right, so let's see what we got here. Oh, I actually like that bear. 2857. $59.64. $66.70, and she was good. So usually my go-to for getting a kid to have a natural smile and not a practice smile is to tell them not to smile, because even when I'm trying to shoot like competition images or something where I want a specific look, it's hard for them to like bust out the blue steel and not smile. And she was really good at it. And one of my daughters is really good at it too, and can just like get real serious real quick. But most kids just burst into giggles and give genuine smiles where their eyes are smiling too. Okay. You guys are judging my sensor dust. I can feel it. I don't blame you. My cat would be. Cat judges everything. We've always had dogs. We've never had cats before. So she's our first. We're just becoming experienced with cats. And they're so much easier than dogs. I love our dog, and he's in the easy phase now, but that took some work. and he's still significantly louder than she is. Okay, and I'm going to keep this light, bright, airy. And we'll just bump this down a little bit just because it's going to be the opposite of the main light on the camera, on camera right. Here we go. And I've got, looks like my rolled up backdrop down there. Oh, that's too big. And some leaves. So I have, I photograph the Santa experience every November, and I have a separate studio now, but I used to, the first 2 years that I did it, I didn't have a separate studio, and I did it in my studio where I would set it up and then tear it down. And I still have glitter. We didn't even use that much glitter. It was like 4 pieces of glitter. And I still find glitter rolled up in backdrops and falling out of crevices in that studio from like 2017 Santa. Sometimes it's hard to tell what's sensor dust and what is just the backdrop. I think that's just the backdrop. And I think I'll leave the ears of the bear. I like that little just like nod, and I'll make sure that the family knows that I can take that out really easily, but I think it's cute that she's got her little buddy right there tucked in next to her. Okay. I'm still cold. I'm glad I didn't wear my short sleeves today. It's not even short sleeves, it's no sleeves at all. But it's cute and festive and on theme, but it's too cold for a theme. The theme is being warm and comfortable, and I'm still cold, so. Okay, so this crop right now is at her wrists, and I don't want to crop at a joint. It's unpleasing. So I'm gonna fill the frame up with her just a little bit, and I love that little expression. I'm gonna put her right in the center. And I'm gonna clean her hair up just a little bit, because we've got some little flyaways going on. There we go. Just real subtle. And then make sure that this brightest little highlight stays the brightest little highlight. So if I'm lightening what's around it, I'll give it a little bump too. And then highlight her cheekbones. Perfect. And just give a little nod to the highlights in her hair. There we go. Whoops, didn't mean to do that quite yet. Flatten it first. And really, to duplicate and then flatten is unnecessary in these instances, but I just try to get in the habit so that if I do something major and screw it up, then I can just, sometimes it's easier to start from scratch than it is to try to go backwards. Okay. And do you see how much time I would save if I just cleaned my camera? But I'd rather buy a new one. Then I can send the old one to get cleaned. Okay, and this is kind of a school picture pose. She doesn't look real comfortable yet, but it's also really classic. And, you know, if they just want a classic portrait on the wall, this is a good candidate. I just gave her a haircut. All right, just really simple. And I love the simplicity of just a beautiful headshot, but I want to truck through these fast so that I can get to the really fun stuff that I'm just excited to edit. So I am cropping the top of her head off because I want to bring the viewer into these eyes. And I'm going to tilt it a little so that you're not going to see her folded up cuff. Okay. She has such dark eyes. Normally I would go in there and really play up the veins in the eyes and stuff like that. But she has such dark eyes, there's not much information there. And they're powerful as they are, just letting them be deep, matched up with her hair. I'm going to go a little bit bigger and give her cheekbones a little kiss of light. And then now I am going to duplicate this layer to get the hairs out of her face. So we'll see if we could get lucky. Might go a little bit bigger than that. And just follow right along there. And we did get lucky. This tool I feel like is pretty hit or miss. Oh, but today is my lucky day. Happy Valentine's Day. Little scratch. Oh, that didn't actually, that barely changed it at all. And sometimes it'll go real crazy. Somebody's yelling for the cat down there. Cats don't come. We're learning that. Cats don't come when you call them. They don't care. In fact, it has the opposite effect. Okay, so we'll just take these down a little bit. There we go. And then if they want this big, if they want, you know, something for their wall, then that's definitely something we can handle. But there's one in particular I want to get to in these, and I think it's one of the very, very last ones. Which figures I try to get my crop in camera exactly what I think I'm going to want and shoot some variety, because when you're cropping in, cropping out, you're losing information, you're losing quality. So I try to get it right in camera and not change it too much. And this is really nice. I'm getting sleepy. I'm going to keep that little highlight on her nose and on her lip. And this little part of the lip is an important, a lot of times too, you'll lose, when you have a bright strobe on one side, you'll lose this curve around the nostril. So that's another thing to keep an eye on. And the paler your subject is, the easier it is to kind of lose that definition. I'm gonna need some coffee. Okay, let's get some more up here. $28.79. There we go. Oh, I love a wind machine. That's another way to get a nice, genuine smile out. 888 and 91. Oh my goodness. 94 and 97. And then we'll be through the first set. I'm gonna use her eyes closed too, because that was cute. Anything that has, you know, I don't want duplicates. I don't want things that are almost exactly the same. So even if their smile changes a little bit, I'll keep both of them and let the parents decide what their favorites are. So these were all the images for, it's like a little movie. These were the images we took for the composite. So I'll just keep trucking through here. Oh, that's a good little face. Goes at a different angle. And I way overshoot for concepts because I don't want them to have to come back in. I'm going to do that one too, because I do want her to have a nice variety, but I like that look. And we'll just change the color of the balloon. He had some ideas for us. Okay, so we'll start there and I'll get these taken care of. All right, gosh. I'm ready for it to warm up. I like winter. I like all the seasons. I'm a Hoosier girl. But this is about the time of year where I'm ready for spring, and at least doesn't have to all be warm, but just like give me like a warm day. Give me 70 tucked in there. Help me, you know, get through. There's a party going on in the basement. There we go. Okay. The wind machine, the Beyonce moment that we all need. We all deserve a wind machine moment. And a lot of times people come into the studio and we're doing their consultation and they're like, I don't really need, I just want simple, you know, I don't need anything special like that. And then when it comes time for their session, they're like, maybe we give it a try. Maybe we do have the wind machine. And we will just give her hair a little more pizzazz. And just kind of keep this movement going from this side. So it's kind of creating this circular look. So just real simple. And then I'm going to give a dodge sweep over her cheekbones. And then we'll go really small and just the highlights of her face. And make sure she's got nice definition. Make sure the brightest highlight maintains its status. Okay. All right, so I'm going to move this kind of down into the thirds because she's looking up. And then, first of all, I'm going to get rid of this. And that one. And then I'm going to flip it so that it's out of that, whoops, out of that tension point. Just flipped my... There we go. And then we'll go a little bit bigger for cheekbones, dot the nose, cheekbones. And it doesn't have to be an intense edit by any stretch of the imagination. If they want more, I'm happy to give them more. But I'm not gonna do competition level editing on every picture until we know what they want to do with them. If they want them in an album, if they want them on the wall, you know, then I will address them. Especially in an album, I want them unified. Okay, so we're just going to keep trucking through these simple portraits as fast as we can so that we can get to the creative ones that are my favorite. And then we can go back to the composite and see, once we've stepped away from it, if there is more that we need to do. That's probably loud, I'm sorry. And that's a real smile. She's smiling with her eyes. She's got genuine movement in her face. That's what we're looking for the real smile. go. And I like this one with her eyes closed just because it's like a genuine childhood carefree moment. Shoot, I'm getting sleepy. Okay, so I don't know if I don't think we'll do this one after all because her face is a little obscured. So let's go back into the images. 3068. Okay. And then there's a genuine smile. Yes, that's exactly what we want. '73, '77. We were getting artsy here. She had some ideas with me. '80 and '83. My phone's going crazy. I'm moving more than a typical Monday, according to my watch, which is really sad because I've been streaming for an hour and 40 minutes. So I don't know what's going on at the other Mondays. It's not good. Okay. There we go. A little flower toss, little flower girl action. Okay, I'm not going to crop this one at all. It's in a weird spot. Let's go. It's barely visible, but since I've seen it now, I won't be able to just let it go. Okay. And I love, with portraits, shooting into the shadows. So the light is on the other side of my subject. I'm shooting into their shadow side. And I always think, especially when you have gorgeous cheeks like she does, it just gives it this sweet, personal element that I really like. I'm going to actually Okay. Yeah, let's do that. So they didn't have any good snacks at Whole Foods, but they had a lot of flowers. So flowers, I guess, are still the go-to. Flowers are nice. It's just, you know, it's been done. And I'm going to lower this just a tiny bit since it's a darker image. There we go. Still a little bit of drama with the big flower and the deep shadows. Love that. Big smile. You know what? I'm going a different route with this. I'm gonna open up one of my test shots and run my homemade batch, not batch, but my homemade action. There we go. Okay. And we're just trucking along. And I'm gonna run 100% down the edge, get rid of that hard edge. And see how close we are. We're pretty close to the edge. So I think rather than darken in general, I'll just give it a little smudge of burn. And actually, that needs to come down a little bit. I'm going to flatten, get rid of that little bit of sensor dust. All right, I'm really antsy to get back to that composite, and I'm restraining myself a little bit because I need to forget what it looks like so that I can see any errors or anything like that that are gonna keep it from being perfect. Okay. I have a song stuck in my head from my run, and I think it's Queen, but I'm not 100% sure. My sister would kill me for not knowing that. So I'll try this one just to darken a little bit rather than burn. I actually learned to burn and dodge in the darkroom. It was a lot more exciting then because maybe it was just because I was in college where it was kind of a crapshoot. I don't feel like anybody was real sure what they were going to end up with. And we got married in 2003, and our wedding photographer was working on film, obviously, because everybody was. But they started dabbling in digital. And at the end of the night, our photographer printed out, it was like this matted set of 9 photos, and we were like blown away by that kind of technology. It was really, really exciting for that time. Like my mom tipped them, and it was a big deal. And then just a few years later, it wasn't a big deal. I went into business and was completely, I was never in business as a film photographer. I learned on film. My first non-film camera was my professional camera, the first one that I went into business with. So I had to learn quick. It wasn't really that different though. But we were really super impressed by our wedding photographer. My sisters are 5 and 8 years older than me, and we all got married within 3 years of one another. And I was the last one. And their wedding photographers didn't do that. So, and this was her idea. She wanted to do the crown. So I gotta make these good for her. All right, 3088. What else we got here? Let's do that one. 92. 96. And I'm leaving that backdrop shot so I'm not seeing the composite in between. I'm gonna grab this one too actually, because between these two shots, see how her nose is breaking the plane of her cheek? We don't want that. So we want all nose or all cheek. Little lasso, little headband lasso. Oh, I like that one. 3108. Here we go. And we'll just go with these few. I like to go a few at a time so that I don't get too bored with them and start really burning through them, because I want to make sure each one's getting the attention. All right. And that one in its simplicity. Sometimes like I don't handle the simple ones well because I get done with them real quick and I kind of go, what else can I do? Because that felt too quick. And that's not how you should look at that. I'm going to bring the brightness down. She was pretty close to the main light there. There we go. And I'm going to give her a flip so that she, since we read left to right, our eyes want to read left to right. Normally I would bring her down and scoot her back so that she's in the rule of thirds, but I don't want to cut her hair off, because if they want this cleaned up, they want some of her fuzzies hairs cleaned up, then I want to keep these highlights and tones in there to work with those. And then we'll get rid of that one because that one was so close. And I'm going to put this one right in the center of the frame. Our doggy, here's our neighbor. He's very excited about it. Yeah, I think we'll just leave that one as is. Okay. my husband and I started dating, we had just started dating on our first Valentine's Day. On January 28th was our first date. And then Valentine's Day came along at kind of like a weird time because we were still pretty new to dating each other. And I had already committed to a party with a bunch of girlfriends because none of us were dating anyone. And they were not going to let me out of that party without a fight. So I had to wait until they all were asleep and make sure that I stayed awake, and then snuck out to have a dinner date with my now husband. So I don't think any of my friends ever found out until now. If they're watching this. Sorry. I had to do it. Okay, keep trucking here. Oh, there we go. So you can see by this point, she had warmed up. We're getting like genuine expressions, genuine changes in expressions, real slight variances in the looks. Oh. Okay, now I gotta go back because I had the wrong one. There's where we started. We hadn't gone that far. All right, 3109 was our starting point. $12 and $13. And then I think 17 was the next. $23, I've got an idea for that one. $24. Okay. $31.40. Let's see how close we are. I'm going to go ahead and open that one too. Oh wait, unless I took a landscape one later. $31.54. Okay. So I'll just do my basic homemade action and we'll definitely have to brighten this. Ooh, wind chimes are going crazy. Okay. There we go. That matched better than I expected. Okay. So I don't even think we'll watch a movie or anything tonight. I think it'll probably just be the usual. I'm okay with that though. We'll get dinner out. I'll take any excuse to get dinner out. All right. Okay, so this one, I'm gonna adjust the composition real quick. Swipe that. Can you hear my kids in the basement? They seem really loud today. But there's a solid chance I say that every single time I stream. All right. Yeah, I like that little, her eyelashes are so beautiful. I'm jealous. Okay, so this is the one that I wanted to do a little bit of a different crop because I like the yeah, just real simple. Whoops. And these pictures, like I said, these were not the focus of the session. They were, the first set was to get her comfortable and get genuine expression out of her. And then the second set is for typical portraits, just like making sure that we got a good wall portrait for who she is now. And we're making use of the time in the studio so that it's not just for the competition image, not for the concept image. And I want to peek at it. I want to look back and peek at it, and I'm not letting myself. We'll peek at it when the rest of these are done. Or maybe a little bit sooner. I don't know how many I've got left, so I don't want to commit to waiting if you know, if I'm not going to get back to it. But we'll just have to make sure we get back to it. Because I really want to peek. I have a song stuck in my head. Here's some trivia for you. It is in my head from, so I did an outdoor run with Peloton. It was a rock run. So it's considered the rock genre. And I recognize it, and I think I might know who it is, but I'm not super convinced. And I only know one line from the song. And actually, now that I think about it, I'm not sure that I know the words to that one line. But it's having a good time, and then it might be now. That they might say now after it. Name that tune. I think it might be Queen. But see, if somebody is really into rock, they're not gonna be happy if that's not who it is. OAR was on the playlist. That I know. That's actually why I picked that run for that one song. Okay, so this is left up there to hide my concept. Oh my gosh. Yay, new follower. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn this down. That's the third or fourth time I've jumped. I got to keep my volume down, and I'm sorry if I made you guys all jump too. But thank you for following. I appreciate it. All right. We'll keep trucking. Oh, these are cute. I have a hard time with these because as a mom, I want to keep all of them because they're fun and being silly and being kids. And before too long, they'll be shy and not let themselves be silly like that. Or they just never grow out of it. And I'm okay with that too. Silly is good. Thank you. I'll take being scared. Oh my gosh, I love these. This is when she was like, this is when she took control of the session and she was like, here's how this is gonna go. She's precious. And she was not, it's funny, I've photographed her before, but it was in the Santa experience. So all of the kids, most of the kids with Santa are real reserved. They're on their best behavior. They're a little bit nervous. And so that's the only way I had ever seen her. And she was that way at first. And then she came alive and she was like, okay, I know what we're doing now. Here's how this is gonna go. And she had ideas and she loved the wind machine. Who doesn't love a wind machine? Makes me want to get a wig. I don't know if it would blow off. I don't know if it would blow off on the wind machine. But something to experiment with. What level of the wind machine can a wig handle? All right, so just super simple. She's got the life in these images is in her and her excitement. I did, yeah. I did. So this is all, this is for a concept shoot, and we are telling the story of her parents' fertility journey. And so we did this concept, you know what, I'm going to peek at it. So this is what we're working on for the concept. And these are the pictures that we started with. And I'm trying to make myself not look at it for a little bit so we can go back and kind of see, you know, any errors I might have made or anything that can be improved on. And we're working on the rest of the session in the meantime. So it's fun to see the progression in the session when they really start, my subject really starts feeling it and getting into it. And she was there, all in. Okay, and then when we select transform and go to transform and flip, then we can flip just that little layer or that selection and not have to flip the whole image. I love the movement in this, in her hair and her face, her expression, everything. Now we're getting a little close to where my kicker light was over on go. We're trucking. So normally in a regular child session, depending on how many sibling sets there are, or if the parents want to be in a few, that'll change how many I end up giving. But usually it's around 80 to 100. This one will be significantly less because the purpose was the composite. That being said, we already did 40 because I get carried away. I think I'm going to cut this one because I like that other one better and it was really similar. Okay, so let's get back in here and see what else we find. Did I already do this one? 70. No, I did not. Okay. 3170. So we're getting closer to let's do that one. 3174. We're getting closer to the ones that I'm super duper duper excited about. 82, 84. Okay. $31, 82. I'm just going to click through these to see if 3188. Oh wait, there we go. 3190. If we have one that I like better in that same set, so we don't have duplicates. Oh, I like that better. And so we'll take 90 out and put 93 in. Ooh, or do we like 98 and 99 and 4? Okay, there's just a few more from that set, so I'll go ahead and finish that off. Okay. Okay. I really like the grays. A lot of times I end up with light-skinned blonde kids, and I love the dark hair on this backdrop. It works. So, I think I'm going to handle these fuzzies because it ought to be a nice clean line. I can't get that song out of my head. There we go. I'm going to bring this tail down just a little bit because her hair was already cut off, so we'll just bring it down to the elbow. And I'm not going to flip it. I actually like it at a tension point. And I'm going to keep this one right where it is because I like the brown and the gray together, and I like this little curl that's just barely hanging into the frame. And I think those little details are just beautiful layers to this image. It's so simple, So the layers that I'm giving it will be, not necessarily I'm giving it or that I gave it in frame or whatever. It has layers that are much more simple. And I just saved it, and I'm going to trim those fuzzies off. Here we go. And save that over what I just saved. All right, we'll take a peek at, so this one I'm going to bring down a little and just keep it right at that elbow, and then flip it. Let's see how we feel about going in even, yeah, I like it in even further. And then it's clipped at the head, the shoulder, the elbow, and it just creates this circular, triangular situation that keeps you in the frame, even though the edges are clipped. And it's just a nice little bit of variety from, I'm sure you can hear my kids now, a nice little bit of variety from just a typical straight on headshot, rule of thirds, you know, everything being similar. Whoops. There we go. And this is just a play on light with her beautiful dark eyes with catch lights and the highlights of her hair, and it's nice and simple. I like the other one better, so we'll just, I like this one. This is the only one where she's looking in the frame. And her hair wasn't real fuzzy yet, so it's just a matter of cleaning up sensor dust. Whoops. From the light side, all right. Super easy. Okay, so we are closing in, can't see around there. We are closing in on the typical portraits being done, and then we can go back to the finishing touches on the composite. I'm glad we got these fun ones in between serious and I like the other one better. Okay, I'll put it on there so that I'm not seeing it every time. Okay, let's keep trucking. I'm gonna get rid of that because or 3219. This dress didn't last long. $29. That's hard to see that red. 32. It's like, poor bunny. these are the ones. That's what I was looking for. 32.51. And I have a lot more than I thought. So typical 80 to 100, and sometimes that's with 3 kids' portraits of each of them together, portraits with the girls, with the mom, with the dad, with the whole family, with the dog. And you end up with a ton of variety. And then sometimes you get one baby and no other family members, and you still end up with 100 pictures. But sometimes they end up a lot lower, and I expected this one to be around 30 to 40, but we're already at 46. And that's not including the composite, and that is not including what we haven't done yet. So I overshoot. There's no such thing. I take that back. There's no such thing as overshooting. No such thing as having too many photographs. So I'm not even sorry. Come from that other direction. There we go. And look at that big bright eye. I'm going to give this just a little depth, and let's go up to 9% because that 5 really doesn't even count. Look at that shiny hair and that little highlight on her cheekbone and her nose and that bright eye. So I'm not going to try to remove that curl from her eye. If I were going to put this in competition, or they wanted this big for the wall, I would bring the hair over Veronica Lake style, old Hollywood, and just really put the emphasis on this bright little part of her face, which is where your eye is naturally going anyway. It's getting late. I mean, it's not late, but it's later than I thought it was. It's 3 o'clock. Okay. So normally with these, I do, you know what? I think I will. She wasn't feeling the fluff. This girl wanted to move, and I respect that. So we didn't stay in the fluff very long. Let's see here. Just take that hard edge away, and I'm gonna make awful furrowed eyebrow situation at the camera right now. So sorry. Sorry for what you're witnessing. I'll spin it around, make it just a little bigger. I won't change the size too much because you want it to make sense visually. There we go. But this is very Valentine's Day image. The reds, it's on theme. Whoops. Okay, so her hair was a little off of the, so we're just gonna have to pretend that let's do, there we go. And they're just different enough that it doesn't look like there's any duplication or anything like that. Yeah, we won't even worry about that. I actually really like the contrast. that's something that I struggle with, is when I have something simple and it's quick, then I tend to want to make it complicated and want to keep doing stuff to it. And so the first, if you have watched me stream at all, then you have probably seen some of the competition images that I've worked on. And the first ones, that's kind of sloppy, but pretend you didn't see that. The first ones will be judged February 25th, the day after my husband's birthday. And that's how I'm remembering the judging date. And I will report back on how I did. I got some feedback from community members, which I greatly appreciate. And we'll see how we did. We'll see what we need to improve on before going into the next competition. Because I went into this severely unprepared. Well, not unprepared, but underprepared. Because the compositing, the master artist stuff takes so long. Okay, do we want either of these? Yeah. Yeah, we do. Okay, so I'll just grab a chunk. Okay. We'll make sure and erase her back, her foot. Okay. And this is just a less precise way to do it. But like I said, if they want this printed big, if they want this in an album or on their wall, or this is one that they absolutely fall in love with, I can go in there and clean that up. That's no big deal. And that red with her dark hair and pale skin looks so good. Good coloring for that color scheme. Oh, okay, 3252. There are gonna be a lot of these that I like. I can tell you that already. 3253. And we are not even close to the end. I really like to try to wrap up the rest of this session today. 54. let's see, 66. 67. Okay, we'll open those. And then, where are we at? 3268. So here comes the wind machine again. Buckle up. 3270, 3273. That's actually, I like that better. All right, so 3273. I gotta get some with the wind machine. There we go. 74, 77. Wait. 74, 78. $80. Okay. Oh, actually 3283. I like that even better. Here we go. $32.93. And then we'll stop and edit. We're still not. This is the one I was excited about. I love her little hands clasped and the wind blowing. Love it, love it, love it. I like a good center composition too, so. In this scenario, if we're reading left to right, we're going into the shadow side of her face, which I prefer. That's kind of personal preference. But I usually prefer the shadows. No, I don't like that. That's too distinctively. Okay. So I'm going to leave the blowing hair. It's part of this story. And I'm going to dodge the highlights, give an extra little touch on the brightest highlights. Okay. What I do want to do is go in here and see if we want to really give this. I've been doing just real basic portrait editing on these, but I thought we might want to go in with a little more of a finishing. That's still. Okay, so dodge, dodge. No, that's too much. And then nice big one, just to give it a little. Okay, and then we'll go in with the burn tool. Smaller than that. And just make sure that these little definitions in her face are accounted for. we'll smudge just a little bit. We'll go a little bit bigger, and just to make sure that that noise doesn't steal any thunder. Sorry. I don't know, why am I so jumpy? And why is my phone so loud is the real question here. There's one little stray hair across her face. Okay. So then the last thing I want to do is dodge her hair highlights just a touch and get all this movement in here. There we go. So that was the original. That's a little touch up, and it's subtle. It's nothing over the top, but I was really looking forward to that one. Okay. Okay, and then just clean up the sensor dust. I like that last one better. Oh, I love it. It's so subtle and simple in its theme and the idea behind it, but it's just a little extra too, and I always like a little extra. I like the other one so much more. I'm gonna leave that, although I did really like her hair in that, but I'll still have it. You can go back if we need to. All right, we're trucking. I like that. This is another one that just in its simplicity, it's very simple, not overly done, not over the top. She's just about rule of thirds. I'll go ahead and touch up the sensor dust and then flip it. Okay. We're getting there. I think I like that one too. It's a little bit different than any of the others that we've edited today. A little different expression, a little different feeling overall. I like that variety. Bring that brightness down a little bit. She's just deep in thought. And I'm going to leave this crop exactly like it is. Just get rid of the sensor dust because I like the lean, the tilt, the movement, and I like her curly little smile that's showing her teeth because that's different than what else we've had on here. And that's different too. So let's see where we're at for this session that I expected to be like maybe 30, and the concept is now the concept and 57. Well, you know, ballpark. I would much rather have more than I thought than end up with less than I thought. And I don't think that's ever happened. Knock on wood. Don't want to jinx myself. Okay, we're through that set. And we might be in the home stretch here. 32.96. Hmm. 33.11. 12. 12 and 24. No. 11, 12, and 24. Okay, I had accidentally unclicked. Okay, this is the one I was looking for. 33.29. And 33.31. There were a lot of them I was excited about. 33.31. And we gotta be getting close here. $33.40. I'm almost done. Okay, 33.40. Hmm. 49. Well, let's see, 53. All right, I'm just going to pull the rest of these up so that when we're done with this set, then we're done. 33.59. 33.66. 74. 74 and 81. And I think that might be, oh, okay, there's one at the end. I'm going to open these. There's one at the end that she styled. So we obviously have to include that, 33.88. she was thrilled to be the stylist for this one. So we've got to include her art here. We've got to respect the artist. Oh, that's not helpful. I've got one open here that's got, there we go. And then we can go back and wrap up that composite. And this is going to be just kind of almost like a vignette, a colorful vignette. Because, well, I don't know. Now I feel like I should maybe make the horizon there match up. There we go. And then we'll flip this. And this is just for her. She was thrilled to style this little set. So there we go. And then we're going to darken that a little bit because there was no kicker light. Uh-oh. They're getting louder. Okay. So we got her artwork done. And then we are in the home stretch of this session. And in the home stretch of the composite, which was the whole purpose. Let's see if Liquify is going to handle that for us. You know what? Let's do this. Let's go back to history and liquefy that first. And then maybe we can take the end of that hair with us. There we go. There we go. All right. So now then flip the whole thing. And that's that. Then we'll go back here and see how much time that little homemade action saves. So anytime I am shooting in the studio, I've got that one pre-made because I know what my settings are. And anytime that I'm shooting on location, it takes less than 2 minutes to batch action or to create an action. I keep saying that. To create an action that suits the location that I was working at. And then I can just truck through images decisively. Here we go. Now I think I'll leave this one in a portrait orientation. If they want it in an album or some other orientation, for whatever reason, if they want it in an album, there's some reason that they need it to be a different crop, then that's super easy to drop onto my backdrop without losing any resolution or clarity. Okay, just a handful to go. And I like the simplicity in her styling here, if I do say so myself. And I love sensor dust, as you can see by the vast amounts of it I keep around. I'm most popular on days that I'm streaming. That's when the phone rings, that's when I get emails. I like the other one better. So we'll cut that one. And this one's just a silly, she was real comfortable with me by then. We were having a party. Maybe that's why that song stuck in my head. Maybe it's having a good time. Not so much the fact that I listened to it on a run. I didn't pick it. Otherwise, I would probably know who was singing it. Maybe. Ballpark. Okay. This is what's nice about having pictures that you really, really love towards the end of a session, is that when you're like starting to get lazy, you're not gonna get lazy on pictures that you love, that are some of your favorites from the session. So it's good to tuck a few of those at the end to edit. And that's why I don't make myself wait. Like I didn't make myself wait to get started on the composite until I was done with the regular pictures. Because as much as I love the regular pictures, I really, really, really love the storytelling in compositing. So if I would have made myself wait, I would have absolutely rushed and not given these images the attention that they deserve. That might be, I might tuck a few of these away into a competition folder just outside of the composite. The composite, I'm very grateful. My client has agreed to let me use her image and her story and everything in, I actually really like that. In competitions. So I'm going to do that. And I'm excited about it. That's the end of my story. But usually for competitions, I'll go digging through my files. What I used to do and what I should do and what I didn't do this year was keep a file of specific images from sessions that I really liked and I thought had some potential to be comp images. And then when it came time to start editing, I didn't have any searching to do. I had a little library of 10 or 12 images just for photographic open that I could dig into. And I didn't do that this year. So that's on me. How do I want to go about this? Love it. Okay, now I'm gonna look cross-eyed for a hot second while while I look right behind the camera. I'm gonna cut this one and keep these two. I'm sorry if you're bothered by cracking knuckles. That was louder than I expected. This is another one that's got some possibility. Look at that expression. She's working it. Working the camera. And it almost, if I got that into competition mode, it almost has like a Renaissance feel. So that's definitely, I'll keep this whole session in mind. I've already, the deadline for the deadline is actually tonight. Oh, don't let me start thinking about that or I'll add stuff in there. The deadline for one competition was Friday, so I can't, that's not even a possibility. But one of the competitions I think is midnight tonight. So if you could distract me from that and not let me consider entering more, that would be great. Now I kind of want to. We'll go a little bit bigger. And this will drain the color real quickly. So we can't be too liberal with that brush. Okay, so all in all for that session that I thought we would have maybe 20 or 30, we ended up with 68. So it's not overboard. That's a good solid number. And we've got the composite. And I'm happy with it so far, but it definitely still needs some work. It has been saved. So the next thing that I'm going to do is details. And I'm going to go in and dodge and burn her dress, the flowers, the grass, her arms and legs, and the balloons. So this should definitely finish up tomorrow. And the session is done. So this ordering session is until Friday. So I've got time to step away from it and come back to it with fresh eyes. And I have to make myself do it. I have to make myself not look at it for a little bit. Sometimes I'll even take a cell phone picture of my competition images and look at it and then look at them in the middle of the night. I guess I can't help myself. So anyway, I'll be back to this tomorrow, maybe for the last time, for now, anyway, because this is going into competition. This is going on the wall of my clients, and I'm excited to get it finished. It's not there yet. I recognize it's not there yet. So we will see. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Please follow along. Thank you to my new followers today. So follow me here, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Instagram. It's all free, and I would love your feedback on this, and we'll see how we end up doing on competition. Thank you guys so much. Have a good one.
That's why I do my mommy. Please.